Hello, Cynthia.
Hey Jen, how's it going?
Going great. I'm excited. We're really jumping into December super fast when we're recording this.
Yes.
But, I feel like this topic is something that's going to be really important. So I can't wait to jump in.
Yeah, I feel like for a lot of us small and medium-sized businesses, we're kind of figuring out what's going to move the needle, right? And there's so many different directions. Like I think it's one of the top things I hear from small business owners is like what do I need to focus on next to get to my goal, right? And so I'd love to review with you what you've found successful in this last year and even maybe, a little bit of a sneak peek of what's coming up. But yeah, I think it's important to share like what's worked because it just can be interesting, right? It's different for everybody, but there's definitely some trends and things there.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's going to be fun. There's like so many things that just went off in my head as you just said that statement.
Of
And
course.
I'm like, which ones are we gonna be
There's a lot.
which is a lot.
And yeah, we both have teams too. So we need to clarify if you're like working alone, you can still do all the
Yeah.
things, but it's so different than I would say it all levels itself out. Because when I started, I was doing so many things that now I don't do, but I was doing more, but now I have a team. So it's kind of like levels itself out. Like I am doing less, but I also now
And a gym.
have like a team. So
I know a lot of my clients are getting close to this where they're getting ready to hire their first team member. So maybe we can do something about, how to know when you're ready.
yes, that is like a whole topic, like team and mindset around team is a whole thing. But yeah, tell me about your 2024. Like how has this year been for you?
20,
Um,
yeah. So 2024 is a different beast. We went through 2020, that was really trying. And I feel like because this year was off, I think the United States elections made it
mm,
so. The economy was not coming back as robust or as quickly as we, of course, want. So 2024 is kind of weird with the election, with the economy not coming back as fast as we had hoped. Everything, like every business is passing along those expenses that are now
okay, right,
more. And so
right.
I feel like, especially in the middle of 2024, but even toward the beginning, a lot of people were really refining their budgets, deciding on what, like, I feel like 2023 they were more flexible to like outsource or
Right.
more flexible to try new things, had more of a income to play with. I feel like people have less comfortable parting with money this year.
Yeah.
They were more reserved, more thoughtful. Everyone was tightening their belts in terms of expenses because that's as a business owner, the fastest way to turn your business around financially is to cut expenses, right? Because we can control
Mhm.
that. We can't necessarily control when people come in and choose to work with us, right? We
Right.
can market our hearts out, of course,
Mhm.
but cutting those expenses. So, it was a harder year to win business for my
Mm.
agency, but our revenue is higher than it has ever been. So it's kind of
Mhm.
it felt way harder. It was a
Right.
good year. I'll say that.
Interesting. Yeah, I also this year has been incredible for the business. I also feel like all the work I've been doing for years and years, I like really seeing the fruits of that, like I feel like when you're starting, you kind of feel like you're the only one talking about this thing and then after doing it for a while, you like realize, hey, like all this has a snowball effect. So that's very exciting. Um so in terms of marketing, like the biggest area, well, been a few different areas that I've really gone all in, but I would say my podcast continues to be like a big focus for me, just being consistent on it. I have done something this year that I never did before. Well, I didn't do much of until this year, which was repurposing content. So because I have over 300 episodes, I went back and did these encore episodes, and that was really cool because I was still able to create or just publish relevant content, and then I'm still consistent, like I'm doing, but I don't have to record like a brand new episode. So that was really fun, and I got that idea from a coach. I didn't even think about it for myself, right? So there you go. You need to have that outside counsel to get those ideas.
For sure. I would say this is the first year, as long as I get through the end of December, that I have published a blog every week without fail. So,
Wow,
like,
that's
there's
incredible,
always,
Jen.
like, situations where maybe it doesn't work or whatever in years past, but this year I
Mhm.
was fully committed, and when I say blogs, I mean videos also as well as my podcast. So,
Right.
this has been the year of content creation for me. Not that I haven't
Yeah.
been creating it before. I've had my podcast since 2018. I've had my blog
Mhm,
since that long too for this business and my other
mhm,
business since 2009. So,
mhm.
content is not a stranger to me, but this year, the commitment for helping, really providing helpful content has been my focus. And Google seems to agree because people's
Yeah,
sending me love and things are moving and all the things. So I feel like I'm very excited that I did that, and it feels because then I can go into that whole content repurposing, redoing things, like all of that stuff. I've finally set myself up there. But also,
yeah.
this year is the first year that I did an email every week as well. Um,
Wow, congratulations.
so it feels exhausting, but I have a system now. When you do something long enough consistently, that's the secret to making, figuring out the process on the back end, making an easier, more effective, smarter marketing plan. And I've cut so
Yeah,
many corners now that I've taken
yeah,
what normally takes probably 5 hours for that each week for that content for the week. And I've brought it down
right.
to a good hour to an hour and a half, including
Wow.
filming, editing, the whole 9 yards. Yes, I have a team this year, so that has
Mhm,
really helped me, but, um
mhm.
but my commitment, it makes me real happy and real proud.
Totally, yeah, you're here for a reason, right? So, I feel the same way. I feel like it's almost like going to the gym, like you start with the little weights and you're going and then you like because you start to build that confidence, you can start going for the heavier weights, and it does feel hard, right? It feels like, man, this is work. But then it gets lighter, right? Because
Mhm.
you get stronger. It's the same thing with content creation. It's like the more consistent, and like consistent can mean a lot of different things. It doesn't mean weekly
Yeah,
necessarily,
of
right? But I do feel like there's a volume. I've like just tricked my brain into seeing that not everybody's going to see my stuff, so I just need to put out a certain volume of good quality stuff for things to roll, and I've noticed a big difference as well in just overall how I guess all the numbers
Yeah.
across all my
All
markets.
my marketing numbers have gone up, and I
Mhm,
know that a huge chunk of that is because I'm
mhm,
emailing every week
mhm.
and I'm putting those links in
Yeah,
there, and those people may not, from my YouTube channel or my podcast, may not be subscribed or may not be watching on a
mhm.
weekly basis, but this puts
Right,
it in kind of front and center in their face, along with the helpful content that gets people to open the
right,
email, right? That's always a
right.
struggle. But I think I've gotten more sales through my emails this year, and I know it's because I've been
Mm,
nurturing them and cleaning that list up, right? We'll
right.
definitely have to do an email marketing episode for sure. That has
Yes.
really that's really, like, put everything down into a specific piece. So if you're on my email list, you literally see everything that's going on each week, and that's kind of exciting.
Yeah. Have you stopped doing anything this year? I'm curious, like, if
So
you've
much.
intentionally been
I have stopped doing so much, not just because I have a team and now I'm sort of allowing people, like, I'm a control
Mhm,
freak a little bit, so I have gotten better at that this year, but also
mhm.
there's things that I've given up that are not serving me. So I
Right.
have left a number of Facebook groups. Not that I don't want that sort of networking and things going on, but I'm being more
Right.
thoughtful about narrowing down the number of groups so that I can try to every week or two jump in, have conversations, see if I can help with Pinterest for new people to find me.
Right.
Um, I have I've given up scrolling every day. I shouldn't say I've given up because that would be inaccurate. I have lessened the amount of times that I'm going onto Instagram because to
Yeah.
me, Instagram is a confirmer. It's a way
Mhm.
of nurturing people, but
Yeah.
but usually they've gone to me from some place like Pinterest or YouTube or
Right.
podcast, and they're interested, and then they start
Mhm.
following me until something piques their interest, and then we'll work together, right? So,
Right.
I'm more focused on putting content out 3 times a week, sometimes more if I have more content, but I try to do at least 3 times a week. I'm trying to show up more in stories, but I'm not doing a great job of that. But giving up that daily, like 30 minutes every day to go and interact and do all that stuff, and honestly, I'm growing more. So, I don't know what the difference is, but that part I enjoyed giving up. What about you?
Yeah, it's so tricky because these platforms, we like to be on them, right? So there's a reason why. There is a reason why we do all this marketing. Like it's enjoyable to do a podcast. It's enjoyable. Like there's enjoyment, right, into it. But I try to remind myself that I don't really want to be a consumer. Like I am a consumer on Instagram. I am.
I
I do
mean,
use it.
everybody is.
Right, but I wanna be more a creator
Yes.
than a consumer, and I think the platform I'd have to check the statistics, but I'm pretty sure, like, probably, like, 70 to 80% of these platforms are 80% consumers, right? So there's not it seems like there's a lot of content, but most people on these platforms are not creating content. So when I remind myself, "Why am I here?" Like, yes, I might look at it to relax at the end of the day once in a while or message a
Yeah.
friend or something like that, right? But I am a creator, like this is why I'm here. And when I remind myself of that, I can kind of change my intentionality of like where do I want to be using my time, right? And then obviously once in a while I'll catch myself scrolling for a long period of time
I've
and
looked up and
but
like
I feel like
32 minutes have gone by. That's disgusting that you could literally get in that mode, and part of it I
yeah,
know is I should get up and go take a walk. Like, I'm
yeah,
doing it to step away from work that maybe I'm frustrated with or I'm having a hard time with or whatever, and then I'll
yeah,
go back, but instead, maybe I should move my body. Like, there's a lot of
yeah.
things I wanna bring into the new year, so let's definitely touch on that as well.
Yeah, no, I just think like we know that these platforms are addictive, whatever, we're on there because we're businesses and we use it as like a mental health whatever break, right? In a way. I think I've heard like disassociation or whatever, like you just need to turn off your brain and it's so effective at doing that. But I do also feel like I've gotten better like I'll just do little games with myself where I'll be like, okay, if I'm going to open up Instagram, I need to post something. And
Yes.
then sometimes I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not ready to open or like I have to post something on stories. So, of course I have, a lot of content because I have a commitment because it's kind of like if I don't know, I just thought of an analogy. If I'm a candy store owner and I eat all my candy sort of thing, it's like that's not going to work, right? So I need to control myself, even though all these platforms are enjoyable. I'm not going to go out and spend all my day on this. So what do I want to be doing, right? And so there's a lot that happens before I open up Instagram, and I try to be very strategic about when am I going to post and like how is this going to happen? It's
Yeah.
like okay, I'm going to go in, get out.
What have you given up?
What have I given up? Okay, so I've gotten really kind of really picky with my calendar. So I used to get on like all the calls, and even with my team, I'm trying, and I'm still working on this. I don't have it perfect, but I've gotten really clear of like, I have limited time and I don't want to be up until 3 a.m. working, right? So, what needs to happen during the day? Like, what calls do I have to have with my clients, with my team? And then, what are the other things I'm doing for networking? And then everything else is like kind of not priority, right? And so I've like found new ways to connect with people that don't, they're not like booking time on my calendar, just ways to, again, Voxer is great, right? Because I can stay in
Close
touch
it
with
and
people
open it back
and
up. Yes,
yes,
that's
exactly.
brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, and just restricted more, like, because otherwise you're all day on other people's agendas, which again, this is collaborative, but if I don't have that time to think and like do my own work, my own deep work, it's just very difficult, right? Now it's a work in progress. I'm definitely figuring out my new calendar for 2025
You know
too.
what? I'm the same. I try to hold Mondays to my client work because
Mm,
I ease back into the week that way pretty easily, and then on Tuesday,
right.
I'm with my grandkids, which has been over a
Yeah.
year now as well.
Wow.
So that makes me feel happy, but I used to have my calendar sort of wide open for anything, and now I
Right.
only do my podcast interviews on Thursdays, and I don't do more than
Mm,
3. I had 5 in one day once. That was not good.
right.
And so in my system, I said no more than 3 a day. So even if it's open, it'll look for the next Thursday for
Mhm,
people, like connect calls or
mhm.
not discovery calls, but like chats, business, all of those types of things that you were talking about when you're interacting with other people, which is really important for your business too.
Right.
I limit those to, like, every other week and only, like, 2
Mm,
every other week, like, I'm trying to be while they are good, I don't wanna
mhm,
feel exhausted or frustrated because I'm on this chat call when I have hours and
mhm.
hours of client work. So,
Yeah,
I limit them to
exactly.
20 minutes. A lot of people do, 30 minutes. I'm doing 20 now because I wanna be able to get on and get off, and I'm also logging those calls now on a spreadsheet so that I put in
Mm,
the areas of expertise so I can search that sheet if somebody wants help from
mhm,
someone. I'm like, "Oh, I just had a chat a couple months ago with this
mhm.
person, blah, blah, blah." But,
That's
yeah,
smart.
my calendar is, like, sacred. Like, I have it
Mhm,
really tightly blocked, and that
mhm.
came probably mid-year this year when I started getting smarter about it, uh,
Yeah.
and being, like, more thoughtful about it, yeah.
Yeah, me too. I feel like I'm in a big transition now where I'm like really looking at how do I want to spend my time, like my daytime, right? Like my first question this year has been like, when do I have my best brain energy? And for me, it's in the
Me
morning, like my morning time.
me too. I'm not looking after 3, it's just not great.
Like, if I have to do it, like, then I realized actually mornings, I don't wanna have calls because that's when,
Work
like, my
time.
prime brain time is, right? So I have calls later in the day because I can talk with
Yes.
people all day long, right? Now, yes, I don't do 5 calls in a day or anything crazy like that because I would go
Yeah.
crazy, but I'm still figuring out I got so inspired last time by what you're saying with your podcast. Now my calendar for my podcast only has 2 dates per month for my podcast recordings.
See, nice.
And then if they can't, because it's not like before where I needed tons and tons of guests,
No.
right? So if I can just have these 2 dates and it was like, "Oh, I'm gonna do the same thing for the networking calls for new contacts." Like, it's just about like, this is why we started our businesses, right? And there's ways to jig it. And also that like peaceful time to be able to work and get into deep work and think about things and just be like kind of like in my own brain. It's so
I have never been one on, like, nails and lashes and hair
mhm,
and all that stuff, right? But
mhm,
this year, at least the end of this year, I've been more sort of thoughtful on having someone to do my hair, so I don't have to deal with it. If I have a shoot, I can go have her take care of it. Like, all these little things that didn't matter before and or I didn't have the
right.
budget for. I also, schedule my hair appointment and my eyelash appointment, which helps me to, like, show up on camera every day for everything I do.
Yes.
Whatever makes you feel good, make time for that.
Yeah.
But I'm putting those times during the week
Yeah.
because I want my weekends fully immersed with my family, and
Mhm.
I started my business to have freedom. So I'm doing that.
Right.
So I'm doing those like in the afternoons, and they are work productive because when I'm getting my lashes
Mhm.
done, I don't know if y'all know, but your eyes are kind of shut the whole time they're doing it. You can't like read anything or do anything. And so for me, that's my 1 hour of forced solo time. It's just me in my head, and I have my AirPods in so that I'm not having a conversation. I'm not to be rude, but, like, she knows
Yeah.
that's my time.
You're saying
And
yeah,
feel free to
love it.
say that to people also. Like, if you go to get your nails done, everyone always has these conversations, and you don't have to. You can simply
Right.
tell them, "Hey, I'm gonna use this time to listen to work podcast," or whatever it is. "I don't wanna be rude, I just want you to know." I feel like we don't have, as business owners, enough time to just be in our head. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's when the creativity comes. We talked about this on other podcasts before, like when I'm in the bath or when I take a walk. Like, those are
Mhm.
great times to not try to work necessarily, but
Mhm.
just sit with yourself. And the best ideas come during those moments.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I did share this on the other podcast. Like, I read that quote that was like, to be creative, you need to have space. You need to be bored. You kind of have to be doing nothing, right? Nothing,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, but the thing is, we have this busyness because we have so many things that we could be doing, and so we don't prioritize this like open space sort of time,
Yeah. And I'm now
and that's
doing that
so important.
on my calendar.
Intentionally,
Yes,
yes, I
like,
love that.
blocking it on my calendar, which it's kind of for somebody who likes to have things organized and controlled, getting into your calendar can make you feel so powerful. And of course, you can put people in times that you don't normally put people if you need it, if it was
Yeah,
urgent. But 90% of the time, 95% of the time, nothing is that urgent, unless it's an urgent
yeah,
client situation, I feel like.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to also share that I've really given myself permission this year to experiment with different routines. Like, I used to be pretty like, okay, let's just do this one thing. And now it's like, okay, this isn't working. What am I going to do? Right. And in terms of like when I have my calls or when I need time off or whatever. Right. And I think when you become a mom, you're like forced into that like you just need to be flexible, you need to be extra flexible and creative with how you're using your time and where you're how you're getting things done. And it's like I've just now mentally been like, you know what? It doesn't matter how it gets done. It doesn't matter if I'm not like I've been launching something and I tried to launch it once and twice and it didn't work. And now I'm launching it. And it's like, you know what? It doesn't matter if I tried two times and it didn't work. I'm doing it now. Right. So it's like I'm giving myself permission to do it in whatever way it's coming out instead of finding that because I used to be like, oh, I guess I didn't launch it. That means I'm not meant to launch it. And I'll just not launch it. Now I'm like, no, I still want to launch it. It just didn't work out the other times. That's okay. We can do it again. Like there's no right or wrong way to get it done. Right. So just getting it done in that timeline and going forward, because we just trip ourselves up if it doesn't come out the first time, sort of thing.
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about what it is that you launched?
So it's my homegrown traffic SEO course. It's my signature SEO course. It's my main offering. I'm really excited about it. And yeah, so I'm putting that out into the world and we're doing a live round in January. So I'm super excited about that.
I have to say that it was the one SEO thing that actually, like, worked for me. I tried other
Wow.
coaches, I've tried other programs, if you will, but this one, the way that you educate on SEO is
Mhm.
understandable and not so stressful. I get stressed when it comes to SEO. It just feels awkward, right? Because it's not something we're doing every single day. And your
Right.
course really, really helped. I think what has it been 3 years now maybe that I've been 4? Somewhere, I don't
I
know, it's
think
been
so,
a
yeah, 2 to
while,
3
and
years.
I still continue to go back, and the fact that you update these courses and do live round up to this point
Yeah.
annually, right? We always
Yeah.
change our businesses, but the live round
Mhm.
is something that sort of in January when it's an easier time to fit things in,
Mhm.
that we can go through
Yeah.
that is just really smart.
Yeah, I'm just so committed to it, and again, like, I feel like my business has changed so much since I become a mom, and I also have just found new ways of doing things, kind of like what we were talking about with that gym analogy, right? Like, I used to have a lot of time to record and to whatever, and now I'm like, "Okay, how can I get this done with the time I have now?" Yeah, it's just funny because sometimes we think we need more time, but sometimes it's just we need a better system or a better way of a mindset shift even sometimes.
Is there anything that you want to add to your business or start doing for your business?
One of my goals with 2025 is selling as much as possible. Sounds weird. Let me explain. So I think again, we do so many things in our business, right? So we are with our clients, we're, creating content, that sort of thing. But I've noticed one like trend that I was looking at for this year and last year, 2024, 2023, is the months that were higher revenue months were the months that I just launched more things. It doesn't mean I did it better or worse, or I just launched things. And it's just crazy to think about, like, you just need to get out and sell more because people want to buy from you, but they just don't have anything to buy from you. Like, just because you have a site and it's up and it has your services and a buy button, it doesn't mean they're going to buy. Like, I think you need a certain volume of an audience to get to that point where people
Yes.
are like just buying, right? Or you have a funnel, right? That's different because that is selling. So my goal for 2025 is how can each month, and I used to do this, but again, becoming a mom, things are different. How can I every month have like an active launch going on without it taking that much
Without it
actually any of my time?
feeling hard too.
Yes,
Mm.
yes. Because I have all the material and I have a lot of things, right? So I'm now figuring out like what do I need to simplify? What do I need to offboard? Like how can I involve my team? Do I need a new team member who's helping me with that? Like what needs to happen? Because I think if I'm just because I have so many different things, I could sell something new, like new in my service,
Yes.
like my offerings,
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
problem. Like I wouldn't need to, yeah.
Just
How
have
about
to
you? I'm
do it.
curious.
Like, that's the
Yeah,
thing, right?
exactly. That's all it is, right? But it's so
So
hard.
it's funny because I'm along the same lines as you in this situation, and to help me to actually do it better, I'm gonna be blocking 2 days each month. I think it's gonna be the end of 1 month, so a couple days at the end of 1 month, and
Yeah.
that's when I finalize, like, launches or whatever I'm doing, whatever the focus
Mhm.
is for that month. So I feel like I've been
Right.
sort of talking about a lot of different things. Obviously, it's sort of all Pinterest and stuff, but I
Right.
want a more defined thing that
Yes.
I'm doing each month. And
Yes,
so I
exactly.
think having 2 days of 0, like, blocking it off the calendar, 0
Mhm.
appointments, I think that will
Mhm.
really help,
Help.
uh,
Yeah.
open up my time because we can block them now easily. It's harder to block in the moment when you're trying to do
Yes.
something moving forward. I am not somebody who likes to do a whole annual plan
Mm.
because I change and pivot and morph things, and I go a lot about how
Yeah.
I feel, because if I'm
Mhm.
feeling connected to something, I will sell it better, right? I'll talk about
Exactly.
it more, all the things. So
Mhm.
I am going to do that in December.
Mhm.
I'm going to be taking, I'm trying to take 2 weeks off between,
Me
right
too,
before
Jen.
Christmas.
We have to talk
Yeah,
about how that goes
I
for
know.
us.
We'll come back and have a podcast about that. And I'm gonna do a little bit before Christmas through a little bit after New Year's with a 0 meetings. And already that feels good. But during that time, I wanna lay out a big calendar. I'm pretty visual. I like to write things up, but I want it electronic too. So I'm gonna get a big
Mhm.
calendar. You go to FedEx, they have the printing
Mhm.
ability for you guys. Just
Mhm.
print
Yeah.
a big calendar, and then I want to put in all the things I wanna do. Like, I usually do 3 challenges a year, and I've only did 1 this year. So, like,
Mm.
I'm trying to figure out what I wanna do and how I wanna do it. I've got the Creative Marketing Summit in February. I have, like, all the
Mm.
different things that I have, but I wanna get them
Yeah.
all out on the calendar. I wanna put in my, any vacation plans that I have or my grandkids' birthdays, all the things that I'm gonna try to, be present for,
Yeah.
and start there. Put in all of the
Mm.
things so that I have, like, a focus for each month, right?
Are you gonna do a year view? I'm curious. These are like the
So, yeah,
details.
I'm doing a big calendar, and I'm gonna mark
With
down
all the
on the
months.
calendar first, all the time off first, because I
Mhm.
come first,
Mhm. Yeah.
or so I hear. We need to make it a priority this year or next year. Then I'm gonna put in all of the focus. So whatever things I'm doing,
Yes.
I have a focus around them, because then it helps
Mhm.
me to talk about it because I know what I'm gonna be talking about for the entire month.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
feels like a no-brainer, and I feel like I kind of
Yes.
popcorn around different things, talking about all different things, and I had the
Mhm.
biggest year yet, but it felt messy. And it is totally okay to be messy when you're doing stuff,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
I'm at the point now where I wanna refine it a little bit.
Mhm.
So, I'm gonna
Totally.
take that time to do that because I feel like when I'm set up that way, and I don't mean like
Mhm.
full-fledged, launch plans. I'm not gonna do anything like
Mhm.
that, but I want a focus for each month so I know what
Mhm.
content I'm creating, like, for the year.
Yeah.
Of course, things are gonna change, but I feel like there's a power to having it set up and then changing if you want to on the fly.
Yeah, absolutely. And you already have that intention to have everything monthly. So if there is a month where you're like, oh, I want to do this thing, you can just swap it, right? But you already
Yes,
know what you're going to swap it with.
yes,
That, yeah, you want to eliminate this thing. And I was doing this is like, what am I selling this month? And it's like, yeah, the fourth a month. It's like, that's not good, right? We need to, if anything, like working a month ahead to like getting to a place where things are like buffered out too, because also life happens,
yeah.
if we can give ourselves that breathing room, that would be pretty cool. Yeah, we're in the same space, Jen, you and
I
me.
know, I also wanna get more detailed in Asana because it's really helped
Mm,
me with client work for Pinterest management and for my short form editing clients because
yeah,
my team goes off of Asana,
yeah,
but I wanna put everything, like, I want I want to be more looking at it on a daily basis instead of
right.
all the things I have. I have, my electronic notes in here. I have paper notes sometimes. I
Yeah,
want to have like one place, and I've
unified.
finally identified Asana because it's the only one that I've actually used for a period of time now. I've tried them all from
Yeah,
Trello to you name it, right? And so this year, because of the scaling that I'm doing and the team
mhm,
that I have, I have to. So I need to
yeah.
get more in the mindset of always looking there first thing in the morning instead of on my phone. Because then I
Right,
get on my phone, I look at the emails, I go on, so like I'm looking at all the things that
yeah,
is not moving the needle for me.
yeah. Yeah. I think so last comment here. I'm trying to find a way, like I think my issue is I love having different systems because I get
Me
bored. So I'm
too.
like on the I have the notebook and I'm like, the notebook's great. And then I'm like, let's do the tablet now. It's like, why did I never use a tablet? Then I'm on like, yeah, Trello. So I'm like, okay, you know what? What if I can just let myself bounce around a little, because that's what keeps things exciting. Like
Yeah.
maybe the notebook isn't always exciting. So again, this year's been all about permission, and also being like, and I have goals, right? So it's like, because I used to be, okay, I'm only going to do the notebook. And it's like, well, I don't want to do the notebook all the time.
Well, and you're not gonna take that notebook with you. Like, for me, I
Yeah.
only use my
Yeah.
notebook when I'm overwhelmed and I need to write down everything in my head
Yeah.
because something's not connecting, right? I'm overwhelmed.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
but then I need to put that into Asana. Like, that's what
Yeah.
I did need to work on.
Yeah. Find a
Mhm.
system to, yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So good. So many good learnings.
If you guys have any ideas for us in general, we would just love to hear about what you're struggling with, what you're looking to do, how your year went, how what you're going to be doing differently next year. Like, we'd love to know all the things. Go find us on the Marketing Duo podcast on Instagram to leave that message for us.
Yeah. Yeah. We want to hear what you guys are working on because we want to create helpful content to support you. So just let us know and we will create an episode and we can even dedicate it to you.
Totally, totally. We will mention your business and tag your business. So if you want to get more
Yeah,
views, this is a way to do it.
totally. I love it.
All right. Well, have a great day, and we will talk to you later.
Bye.